Hi everybody and welcome to Indigo Sky Holistic. I'm Davina, an intuitive holistic therapist and energy healer, and I'm feeling called to talk a little bit more about money. This surprises me really, because I'm not gonna set out to be a money mindset coach or anything like that, but there seems to be a lot coming up in a lot of different areas about how to cope with and handle being on a low income or a budget, not having a lot of money coming in, whatever, however you want to discuss it, talk about it, perceive it, whatever, and stepping out of that on the one hand. So that's one thing that I kind of want to talk about, how I've a little bit connected to the last video I made about stepping out of the stepping away from state support, if that's something that you have had in your life, state benefits, government support, whatever, to help you financially. I just made a video the other day, which I'll put a card up for here, about stepping out of that and not identifying with that anymore. From that, then I've read a few posts and comments and thoughts in places where I'm active on how do you navigate changing how you speak about things, or how you perceive things, or how you do things when you look at your bank account and it's overdrawn or it's low. How do you navigate that with a high perspective? And I know there's loads. I said in that video, like, what I've read dozens of money books, and I've listened to loads of money mindset content for years. And there's a lot of those people who share the story of where they were, like, I was having to use napkins to cover my baby up because I couldn't afford to buy nappies, and this is not my stories, by the way. These are stories that I've heard other like high earning entrepreneur type people say about their own families, that they were sofa surfing because they hadn't got a place to live of their own, and there's a lot of people who've now got really great incomes and are really like high earners and have amazing lives and everything, who will share the depths of their challenges when they had them. But what I don't see much of, I can literally say I've seen one other entrepreneur ever discuss where she was at the depths of being overdrawn and really struggling financially, cataloguing or sharing her journey out of that. And I've know other entrepreneurs who've not necessarily been in like the depths of despair financially, but have been like, £2,000 a month income going up to 5 figures. And one of my first coaches, that was what she experienced. She experienced her first 5-figure month while she was doing a money program with us, and it was amazing. Or coaching program with us, I can't remember which one now, but it was amazing to be part of her journey from like struggling a little bit with debt and being worried about income, to watching her growth and business expand, and being part of that was wonderful. But what I don't see is people who are now on what would be deemed a low income, people who have been in the benefit system of whatever country they're in, sharing the journey while they're in the journey. And I don't know whether it's like a lack of confidence that the tools that they're working work, whether it's fear of showing up and being seen to be on a low income when you're an entrepreneur. I mean, you're like putting your work out there, and you want to show that you a success at what you do, and being afraid to talk about, well, actually, I'm in my overdraft and I've got to depend on this income to come in now to pay my rent, or I've got this to come now, and I don't know whether there's that fear there of fully sharing that journey or what. But for me, working on my money mindset and really, really honing in on who I want to be more, like really, really want to be, when my income is stable enough to provide everything that we need and then some, to really feel what that's like and get really clear on it. Because oftentimes we have this perception of, well, if I won the lottery, I'd buy a big house and I'd buy a new car and I'd go on a luxury holiday. And is that the reality of the life that you'd really want to live? And oftentimes it's not. And sometimes it's those like big dreams, which is nothing wrong with having. Hell, I'd love a bigger house than my little 2-bedroom terrace. There's nothing wrong with those big dreams, but if they're wildly out of your scope of reality, it's very difficult to create them in your reality. So when I started doing these dreams and these visualizations of like how my house would look, I was like, hold on a minute, I need to actually do it in the house that I'm in. Because when I open my eyes from a visualization or a meditation, I'm still in my little 2-bedroom house in Yorkshire. I am not in a 5-bedroom mansion in the middle of the moors. Like, I'm still where I am, and to embody who I'm calling in, what I'm calling in, while still living in this little house, I had to make things different for me there. Just started visualizing what that house would look like if my income increased from like 2,000 a month to 5,000 a month. 10,000 a month, what that would look like, what would I do in that house, how I would have it look, and this was how I got a bed. I literally manifested a bed so that we could have a bedroom. So anyone who doesn't know, I've spoke about this in videos or definitely on my social media content. My husband and I ended up having a sofa bed in our living room for a while. It was supposed to be temporarily. It was 6 years in the end. Because to allow me, first of all, to have an office space in the second bedroom, and then eventually to allow my daughter, my eldest daughter, to have her own room. Then we had a loft conversion done by the landlady, and my daughter went up into the other room, into the attic space, and it meant that we were going to be able to have a room, but it took a year from that attic being completed for me to actually put her up there. Meanwhile, me and my husband are still like putting the sofa bed up every evening, making the sofa into a bed. And it was learning what the why was I resisting moving out of my living space into my own room. What on earth was stopping me from making that step? And there was a lot of it was down to how much I thought it would cost to decorate the attic, to paint the floor in the attic, to set things up. How on earth was I going to get a bed? And I literally manifested a bed. Like, I was given and gifted a bed. And then a mattress, because I was gifted the bed, and then was like, well, then I'm going to get a king-size mattress to go on this bed. And wow, literally manifested the mattress too. Gifted. Not like that I managed to manifest the money for it. I was literally gifted the bed. So sometimes it's down to what we're looking at and thinking of, like, I need XYZ amount of money for a thing, but actually, like, even the loft conversion, like I wanted a big house. I was like, we need to be in a bigger space. We need more space for the 5 of us to live in. How is that even going to happen? And again, the landlady then sends me a message going, what's that loft conversion? Want to do your loft? I'm like, what? And no, it doesn't class as a 3-bedroom house, but it does mean that my daughter's got her own space, my eldest daughter. So these are all tips and tricks and tools that I have found to use to support myself whilst things were while I was still pretty much living in my overdraft, while we were still living week to week financially, while there was still the uncertainty of like, will I get any bookings this week? Will there be any money coming into my holistic services this week, or will we just solely have to rely on the government benefits that we receive? What will I have left after I've paid the rent and after I've done this out of what we get to pay for? Just gonna move my laptop over onto the shelf so it stops rocking. What would I have to? Sit on the cable. What like literally living week to week, hand to mouth, like how would things look in this house when that's not the case? What would I do? How would I decorate it? When would I decorate it? What needs doing? Pricing it up, because another thing that I've literally I'm just in a conversation right now with somebody about is like the fear of pricing things up, the fear of looking at, well, how much would it cost me to get a sander in to sand the floors and varnish them? What would it cost me to paint the attic floor? What would it cost me to get new curtains? And like hesitating and not looking that up is like, it's all part of the, somewhere along the line, the money stories that we have of, it's cost me too much to do this, it'll cost me too much to do that, it'll cost me too much to have something new. Where's the money going to come from? Where's the money going to come from a new bed? Where is the money going to come from for anything that we need for anything? So I feel like I'm sharing this because money mindset work is something that is so sticky and so challenging, and so many people who in like the depths of despair financially can't see a way out, literally can't see a way out. Like there's no way. And I've been there, like I've literally been there where I've been crying because I don't know how I'm going to buy food for the family this week. I've been there choosing between like buying food and paying my rent, buying food and paying a bill, like choosing and knowing from previous stories in my life that actually the priority is always buying the food. You always look after your family's needs before you pay a bill, literally always. And this is advice that came from financial advisors. I am not a financial advisor, by the way, just like going to put that out there, just in the clause of the like disclaimer. Not a financial advisor, and I'm not even going to be jumping into money mindset work. She says, you know, if I end up doing that, you can always come back and quote this video. You know, you said you weren't going to do money mindset work, here you are. But anyway, I can add that onto another notch on my belt of things that I offer. But yeah, I did, when I went through some really, really tough times when I was pregnant with my first baby, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to continue to manage the debts that I had at the time. That was the advice that was given me. When you're prioritising what you spend money on, even when you're given a budget for a voluntary solvency, whatever, there's things that you put into your budget for what would be deemed luxuries, like what you actually are allowed to have a budget for entertainment purposes, for living, and food always comes before anything else that you have to put out and pay out. A lot of the energy work that I've done, a lot of the energy healing that I've done, a lot of the emotional clearing that I've done has supported me with this. Like, what do I do when I've got a bill to pay? What do I do when I've got to pay the rent? What do I do when there's no food in the house? To help me to calm my nervous system, to be able to open up to ideas. I use EFT even now, still daily, most days, to help me to just navigate the day-to-day of what do I need to pay today, or what is there in the bank today, what is available today, what money is coming in today. but also not get so focused on the today and what's available for me today, so that I can let go of that to be able to go like, look, you know, there is more coming in tomorrow, there is more coming in another day, there is more coming in next week, there is more coming in, to know that, and to begin looking at as well. One of the things I did, because some people it's like, let's look at the money, and some people it's like, let's not look at the money. And I read so many money books where there is like this, there's even conflicts there of like, some people are like, budget and like get clear, like look every day at what your bank account is, and other people are like, forget the bank account, don't ever look at it, don't look at what is in your bank, don't ever look at it, don't do this, don't do that, just trust that the universe will provide. And I think there's a middle ground. And for me, and I'm not sure it's part of my astrology, but I can't remember what part, I actually want to know what the money is and what the figures are. And it's actually good for me to know like how much money is in my bank and where it's going to come from and where it's going to go. And actually get a real buzz off it. I do like numbers as well. So rather than just looking and calculating, right, so I know that this money goes in from tax credits on this day, and I know this is what my bank account is now, and just continually just seeing that as the guaranteed income. So it might be a wage, it might be a benefits payment, it might be some of the regular payment that you get in every week or every month. But if you are like building a business, so you've got employment, some sort of social support, social security, government support, and you're building a livelihood, and you might add up like, right, so this comes in from my wage, and this comes in from my state support, and then this comes in, and then this money goes out to pay rent or pay bill or whatever, and then this comes in from a wage, and then this comes in from state support, and you're not actually allowing in any money in your adding up of what's going to come in to your business, what's going to come in for your income, what's going to come in from the livelihood you're trying to build and create. And this was something that I was continually doing. Like I'd like, you know, I'm over my overdraft, oh no, and like, right, okay, so that £300 goes in the bank on Monday, and then we'll have this much, and then my rent goes out that day, so that's that much, and then what have I got left to spend money on? And never adding in, right, well look, you know, somebody could book in for a Reiki healing session, that's £50 something going into my bank. Someone could book in for a full body massage, that's £80 going into my bank, and that can happen any time in an instant. It doesn't have to wait for, literally while I'm talking now, someone could be booking in through my booking system, buying one of my processes or booking in, and you know, I do it all the time where I like wake up and suddenly someone's paid me £44, someone's paid me £80, someone's paid me something for something, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's like extra. So I started to add that in, even though I don't necessarily guarantee that it's going to be there. I started to, like, this is my account balance on my account now. This is the money that I know is definitely going to go in. But, you know, let's just fantasize of like, how much is this that this goes in? Say someone purchases, someone jumps onto my 6-month process. What's that going to add into my bank account? What's this going to add into my bank account? Someone books in for a Reiki session. Someone, both my group EFT sessions, like 5 people book on that. What's that going to be? And as soon as I started to do that, as soon as I started to include in what income was coming in, people started to buy things, people started to book in for things, people started to pay for things. Because I wasn't focusing on the reality, I was starting to focus on the fantasy. I was starting to focus on the what I'm desiring to create, what I wish to create, what I'm projecting into my future, and then living that way. So starting to create things. I started even before people were booking on my EFT sessions. I started to create the content to go on the website. So I set up the event, I invite people to the event, nobody books in for the event, but I sat here and I created the content for this, particularly for the EFT sessions that I do regularly for the same subjects. It's like, well, that's all there now, on my website for people to have access to once they've attended the group sessions. And then people start to book on the group sessions, and then I'm like, right, okay, so here's the portal which has already got like 10 videos in it. Here you can now go and access that and do EFT every day for the thing you came to the group session for. And wow, that makes the difference, and that makes the change. And that's when people started to book in for all sorts, like literally from Reiki sessions to one-to-one coaching, mentoring, support, like literally out of the blue. People were messaging me, or people were booking in, literally finding me on the website for this place here where I'm based, Soul Wellness in Sowerby Bridge. People were looking for not even like what I do, were like looking for saunas or looking for vegan cafes, and like coming across the space. And then because my profile is there for people to read what I do, as are all the other healers and therapists that are here, they were like, oh, like go into my booking link and booking my sessions. And I'm like, wow. And that was because I really feel it's because I'd shifted this focus on what's actually in my reality to the very next step and level of what's in my reality, which is just covering the necessities without going in like, oh, I want to manifest being a millionaire, or I want to manifest a 6-figure income and a 5-figure income. It's like, it's not even that. That's there. Like, don't get me wrong. But like the 5-figure months are definitely in the ether of like where I'm going. But to go from £2,000 a month to £10,000 a month, totally possible and done by so many people often. But it can be really hard, particularly if you are responsible for other people, as in a mum or a dad, and particularly if you are in that place of like, I really don't know where the money's coming from. I really don't know what's going to happen from here. And moving and stepping out of that, that's the key. That's the answer. And it's like, I don't think there's any one exact same formula or answer for everybody. But the one thing that is the answer is stop being in the like reality of the pain of not having any money now, and into literally the very next version of you that isn't in the like, oh my god, I'm always in my overdraft. Like, what if you just not in your overdraft? What if you just manage to keep your bank account at like £10 so that like money comes in and money goes out, so that you're doing the same thing maybe as what you're doing now, but like with an actual credit balance. And that can be like, that's the next step. And what does that look like? So for myself, it was not like, it was replacing what we'd received in the tax credits and other benefits that we had to support us as a low income. It was covering that. It wasn't like, well, how do I get like £1,000 a week coming in? No. It was, how do I get £400 a week coming in? What do I have to do, and what does that feel like, and where does that come from? All the many different ways where that can happen, even from like the £3 a week that I put on the lottery. What if one of them comes in and I get like £500 win from that? What does that look like? Where could that come from? Also, because I keep a count of like money that comes in, I do my dad's shopping. My dad is 88, lives in a flat 100 and odd miles away. And I visit him once a month, but I do his shopping, and I do shopping online, and he sends me the money and I pay from my bank. And I began to count money that he sends me as money that came to me, because I keep a record of everything. Because at the end of the day, the money is going from my bank. So, and you know, he's my dad, and he'll send like an extra tenner, or he'll round it up. And those extra little bits all help to raise that energy for me of seeing like, well, look, money's coming in this way, money's coming in that way, and allowing that. And then it means that I can go and visit him, and it means that I can cook food for like cook him a meal rather than him taking us out for a meal and things like that, which all feel really good for me to give back in ways that I can give back. And, you know, sometimes I'll still take us for a meal anyway, because, like, we're his family and he only sees us once a month. So that's what I feel is something that I'm feeling called to share, is really letting go of the reality, finding a way several times a day, even at least every day, at least once a day, every day, finding a way to just be in that mindset of, what does the me look like who's not living in my overdraft, who's not living week to week, who's got a little bit of a buffer there in a bank account, even if it's £100, even if it's just even if all you're doing is having the same coming in as is going out, when you've maybe had more going out than coming in for a while. What does that feel like? What does that look like? And looking at things like, how much does it cost to upgrade something? And I manifested 2 laptops as well, like literally crazy. But that's what I have been able to do in the course of this time. So like, I manifested a bed, I manifested a laptop, I literally can manifest coins on the floor, literally 20 pence coin, £5 note on the floor. And that's like learning what is it that I'm doing when I'm like, right, you know, right, okay, so I'm 20p short for this thing, what, you know, that's what I need. What was I doing when I then looked down and there's 20p on the floor? Like, what was I doing? How can I cultivate that that energy when I'm like, okay, so it'd be really helpful if someone booked in a session today, or if someone booked in a session next week, or if someone bought the new thing that I'm releasing, the new process that I'm creating, if someone, what energy and what needs to be going on. And a lot of it is putting it out there and then letting it go. Putting it out there and like, you know, someone's going to book on into one of my sessions this week. Okay, and then go and not being either, not feeling the energy of disappointment, because that was something that definitely was a pattern that I had from the past. I'd be like, you know, advertising stuff, and I wake up every day and nobody's ordered anything. This was going back to my handmade Etsy shop that I had. Like, waking up every day disappointed because nobody had purchased anything. And then being overwhelmed when suddenly I'd get like 3 orders. It's like, the universe provides you what you are, like what you're putting out there. And I'd be like, yeah, I need more orders, and then I'd get more orders, and then I'd be like, oh no, that's too much. So I get less, and then I'm like, oh. And I think that's a key. That is a fundamental step in the right direction. And I think from that, then allowing yourself to actually look at figures, actually look at what things will cost and fantasize, but really, and I think this is where things like EFT or emotional clearing can come in to really powerfully, is to then release any disappointment or upset of how things look when that doesn't happen. Like, right, okay, so nobody did book on into any sessions today. Okay, how do I navigate what emotions come up from that? Maybe there's a little bit of anxiety there, maybe there's a bit of disappointment there. What does that feel like? And taking that from there, be like, right, okay, that's okay. It's okay for me to be disappointed. But that's it. It's over now, because the next step is, and using tools to get that. And it's not about bypassing it. It's not about shoving it down and pretending like it doesn't exist. It's about actually maybe crying that like nothing's gone right this week. Maybe having a good cry about it, because that actually lets the emotion out. I'll tell you what, have a good cry. Really works. Really lets the emotion out. Scream if you need to. Cry if you want to. Do other things. And then from there, move into something that feels a little better. So that's a big a big step forward, and that is what I'm feeling called to speak a little bit on and catalogue this journey from being on, like, relying on state benefits to being in a place of self-reliance. Self-reliance is the right word. And that is what I want to do, is document this journey, to be able to say, this is where I am, this is where I've been, this is where I'm going to, and this is how I've got there, so that I can look back and other people can look back and go, right, this is how we got there, and take what feels aligned and right for you. It might be watching your bank account every transaction. It might be not looking at it, only looking at your bank account when you know the money goes in. Right, okay, I've got that much money and this is what I'll be spending, and taking cash out. Cash is a really amazing way to, like, take the money, feel the money, have the money, and consciously use the money. And that might be right for you. So take and do the steps that feel right to you and help you feel that, like, right, the me who's not in my overdraft, the me that's not living paycheck to paycheck, what does she feel like? What does he feel like? What does he do? And practicing more and more of that, little and often, through the day. Let me know what you think, what your thoughts are on this. Please do like, comment and subscribe. Do all those lovely things that YouTube likes you to do. And I've got some more to say on this, I think. I feel like there's a lot of this going to come up and out in the next few weeks, days, weeks, months, because this is an awesome journey to be on. I literally cannot express how incredible it has been in these course of this last 8 weeks to get to this root core belief that I felt from 2-year-old at least, that nothing I ever did was ever good enough, and to take that core belief and to rip it apart, to pull it apart, to look at it, to hold that little girl there and be like, everything you do is good enough, everything you do is more than good enough, and to start looking for evidence of that in my every single part of my life, so that I could then move through that and use that to step up into, like, right, okay, now I'm getting bookings every week. I'm getting bookings. Now I'm, like, stepping into that power of, like, speaking up and sharing what's going on and what I've got available, and doing it with confidence. And that comes from taking a screenshot every time someone sends me a positive message or comments on something positively. I get some feedback that I can use on my website, say, like, you know, taking a screenshot in the moment, listening to the voice notes over and over to be like, yes, what you do is good enough, what you do is really powerful, what you do is really helpful and supportive, and people really need that and love that and appreciate that, and allowing that to be my new story and my new core belief. My new core belief is that I am absolutely more than good enough to do the things that I do. Then that is then the foundation of everything else that I build on top of it, and that's beautiful, and that is creating massive change for me, emotionally, energetically, physically. Incredible. So yeah, let me know what you think. Any questions, anything you'd like to know about. If you have a particular situation, scenario, if you have a particular financial story in your own reality that you'd like to discuss and see what steps may be able to be taken, you can absolutely book a 20-minute free let's have a cuppa chat, which I'll put the link down there. And I still do have in September some of my 5 half price creative life support sessions as well, where you can dive even deeper and have an hour of my time to discuss your financial story and what you want to do to get out of it. And yeah, I'd love to know what you think, and I'll talk to you all again very soon. Bye.